Today, it is widely accepted that global warming is happening, and that indeed we are a major cause. The question now is, what are we going to do about it? Scientific research has recently discovered that the emissions caused by deforestation in developing countries now accounts for around 12% of the total global emissions of greenhouse gases each year. In 2007, an agreement was reached at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Bali on the urgent need to take further meaningful action to reduce emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. One proposal to achieve this is REDD, which stands for Reduced Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation. This film is about Prey Long Forest in Cambodia and some of the processes involved in developing a successful REDD project.
Prey Long is very important for biodiversity and as a natural ecosystem because it's the last remaining lowland swamp forest in Southeast Asia. From a carbon perspective, the swamp forests of Prey Long are very important because swamp forests normally are associated with the buildup of peat. Now, if you have peat underneath the ground, that basically can double the carbon value of that site. Also, deforestation of peat swamp forests can mean that you have the release of carbon for anything up to 50 years after the forest has been cleared.
Today, Prey Long is divided up into several concession areas. The proposed REDD project would take over 3 of these concessions, totalling over 500,000 hectares. This would include a core area of 283,000 hectares that is of most importance to biodiversity, 188,000 hectares for a community forestry program, and protection for an area of 45,000 hectares that connects the core area to the Mekong River. It is important to establish accurate baselines to calculate the carbon value for any type of forest, and this requires expeditions to collect relevant information.
The development of a REDD project is a complicated process and requires collecting a lot of data. A team from Conservation International joined a botanical team from University of Copenhagen and the Cambodian Forestry Administration on a 10-day expedition into Prey Long to collect this data.
25.5.
In addition to mapping the different forest types, we managed to collect well above 100 tree species, mainly from the swamp forest. And of these, about 1/3 is only found in the swamp forest and are absolutely unique to this forest habitat.
Prey Long Forest is home to more than 250,000 people, with around 700,000 more living within a few kilometres of its boundaries. This forest is an integral part of their culture and spiritual life, and many depend upon its natural resources for their survival.
The Prey Long forests aren't just important as a watershed, they're important as a natural filter. The forests remove toxins and other chemicals, and they also modify the flow of sediment into the Tonle Sap and into the Mekong River.
Prey Long is an ideal place for a REDD project, due to its high value locally, as well as its importance to global biodiversity and to reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
Because that'll be on that side.
Considering the high value in terms of both biodiversity and carbon content, a REDD project for Prey Long would also have an excellent chance of receiving the gold standard from the Climate, Community and Biodiversity Alliance, or CCBA. CCBA provides an internationally accepted set of standards to judge carbon projects, giving potential investors a clear idea of how effective particular projects are.
It's a type of a cat, I think, because it has this hard form pole.
Today, we are spending huge sums of money to replant and rehabilitate previously forested areas. So why are we not trying to do more to protect what little remains of the existing forests? Old-growth forest is far better for reducing carbon emissions, and it also provides a much more effective way to preserve biodiversity for the future. In the end, it comes down to a matter of costs. There are certain expenses associated with the REDD process, but if done successfully, the benefits are many. The question must be, what is it worth to us to ensure the future stability of our climate?